Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is Sunday. It is currently 5:14 p.m. I just got out of the shower not that long ago, and so my hair is drying, so it looks a little crazy. My voice also sounds crazy because I have been sick for like the past week. So I'm like trying to recover from that. I think I had the flu, honestly. I don't know. I just know that I was really sick last weekend. And I had to take Tuesday off from work this past week because I was super sick. But I'm now back at work, so we're good on that end. It's just kind of trying to get my voice back. So, if I sound insane, that's why. And I'm gonna have to cough here and there. Also, yes, I am wearing a Christmas crew neck. Don't say anything. I know it is January and it is no longer Christmas. It's just really cold in my house, and I'm doing laundry. So I'm washing a ton of my hoodies. But anyways, so I wanted to do a books I want to read in 2025. And I chose 25 books that I wanted to read in 2025. Like, that I really want to read at some point this year. Most of these books, and I actually have them here on my MacBook. Most of these books are books that are not published yet. But I have a couple that are from my physical TBR here, which we'll probably go through those ones first, and then we'll go through the books that aren't published yet, which actually I have one book that I need to go and grab. I will be right back. Okay, I am back. I grabbed the book that I needed to add to this video because it's literally the first book on this Google Docs, and I own it because it's already published. But I think we're going to start with the books that I own first before we go through the books that aren't published yet, just because these ones I have more handy. They're right next to me. But the first book that I have is the book Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I just know that this, I think, is a YA fantasy, romantasy probably. I don't know much about this. My friend, I think this came out, when did this come out? This book did not come out recently. So this book came out in 2023, and it says, the elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilia and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Peyton Gray, an ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. But when she unwittingly saves one of Ilia's princes, Kai Azar, she's thrown into the purging trial, a brutal competition showcasing the elites' powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she is fighting feelings for will, if he discovers what Peyton is, completely ordinary. This is giving Hunger Games vibes, kind of. Just like having to compete in these trials and whatnot. So this is on my TBR for 2025. I finally want to like get through this because I have the rest of the series that I also want to get through. But I just put the first book on my list because I don't know if I'm going to like it, but my friend read it, and she really likes it. The second book is part of a trilogy, and I actually have the first, second, and the third book on my 2025 TBR, which is Beartown, Us Against You, and then The Winners by Frederick Bachman. I talked about these books in my last video. I know nothing about these books. So this is Beartown. This one is Us Against You. And then this one is The Winners. I know nothing again about these books. I only know of them because of Sarah Caroli. But last month before I went on vacation, I was watching one of Sarah Caroli's vlogs, and she was talking about rereading Beartown. And she just talked about how much she loved the books. So it made me want to read it. So I went and bought all 3 of them. So yeah, I'm excited. I think based on what I read on Goodreads, this is a literary fiction kind of. And so I haven't read like one of those books in a while. And Sarah Crowley just had like a lot of really good things to say about this trilogy. And so I trust her and her judgment and her ratings on books. So if Sarah Crowley says to read it, then I'm going to read it. But this is on my January TBR actually, Beartown, the first book. So hopefully I can get through it this month. The next book that I have is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is the third book in the Empyrean series. I got the Barnes & Noble edition because I was not going to fight tooth and leg for the freaking tooth and arm, whatever the saying is, for the Target edition. But this, I don't think I really need to say much after showing this book and saying it's on my 25 in 2025. I will say though that I need to read Iron Flame, which I am in the middle of reading right now. But as soon as I finish Iron Flame, I want to start Onyx Storm because there's just so much like talk about it right now and I'm getting FOMO. So I want to read Onyx Storm. The next book that I want to read, which is just like a normal standalone book, is a book that has been on my TBR forever. I think ever since I started reading again back in like 2020 or 2021. This has been on my TBR since then. I mainly put it on my TBR because Elizabeth Olsen, who plays the Scarlet Witch and Wanda Maximoff in the Marvel series, like the Marvel universe, and she's like in a ton of other stuff like Love and Death on HBO Max, but she talked about how she's read this book and I was like, oh, my girl Lizzie said she read this. Okay, I need to read it. So it's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I've never read anything that has like Greek mythology involved in it, and so this is going to be something that is like going to cause me to step outside of my comfort zone because I don't really read Greek myth at all. I think the last time I've ever done anything that has to do with Greek mythology was when I was in 7th grade in my English language arts class, and I feel like that's the only time I've ever done anything with Greek mythology. So this is on my TBR. It has been for like ever, but I actually do want to get to read it this year. A lot of people have just like said so many good things about it, and it's so heartbreaking, they said, and you know, sometimes you just need like a heartbreaking book to put you back together. So the next book is a book that I purchased really just on a whim last year. I know why I purchased this book actually. I know why I purchased this series because the movie had just come out and people were talking about it, and I am a firm believer in reading the books before watching the movies, and so I got Wicked by Gregory Maguire. A lot of people might come for me for this and tell me that it is nothing like the movies, and that's totally fine. Like, I know that it's nothing like the movies, and I know that this, like, the book is just so much heavier than the movie is. And then these last 4 books that I own that I want to read this year is the rest of the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I only have 4 books to go, and I do want to do the tandem read between, I think it's Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storm, but I want to finish this series because I just miss this world. I would say, like, I am not like the biggest fantasy person, but Throne of Glass has definitely gotten me to become a fantasy girly, and so I just want to finish this series. I feel like I would feel so accomplished by finishing the Throne of Glass series. There's just like really no other explanation besides just wanting to do it. Yeah, these ones. Okay, and now for the rest of the books that are on my 2025 TBR list. So I have the title, the author, and then the date that it's going to be published. And the first book is The Crash by Frida McFadden, which is supposed to be published on January 28th in 2025, so this year. Just a couple days. But if you know me, you know that I am a big mystery thriller girl. And Frida McFadden is definitely like one of those authors that I will automatically buy whatever she puts out into the world. It doesn't matter like if the books are super similar in like storyline, just whatever Frida McFadden puts out in the world, I'm buying it and I'm reading it. She's like one of my favorite mystery thriller authors. I think her books are just so easy to read, and it's really good for like whenever I'm in a reading slump because like her books are so easy to read. It's so fast to like get through. The next book is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, and it's supposed to come out February 4th of this year, so I think that's not this week, but next week, I think. I don't know at what point this year I'm going to read it though, because I still have not read like 3 of her other books that she has just released. I think I've only read The Love Hypothesis, and I haven't read anything else after that. So I know that at some point I want to read Deep End, but I want to also read like the rest of Ali Hazelwood's backlist that I have that I still need to read. I've tried to read whatever came out after The Love Hypothesis, so let me look. Love on the Brain. I tried to read Love on the Brain and I just like could not get into it. At some point I need to read the rest of her backlist before I can start Deep End. The next book that I have on my list that is coming out this year is Promise Me Sunshine by Caraba Stone. I think I said that correctly. Which comes out March 4th, which is my birthday month. I actually have an ARC copy of this, so an advanced reader copy of Promise Me Sunshine. So I actually will be able to read it before March 4th. But I think I'm also going to buy it when it comes out, just so that I can also have a physical copy. But I read one of Caraba Stone's books last year for my book club, which was Ready or Not, and I loved that book so much. I was so happy that we chose that book, and it was just so good all around. Like, I don't think there was any part in that book where there was ever like, I don't know how to like explain it. I don't think there was any part in that book where there was like tension between the two main characters, like bad tension. And so I'm hoping that Promise Me Sunshine is just as good or even better than Ready or Not. But I'm excited to read that as well. The next book I have on my list is This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead, which comes out March 25th of this year. I've only read one book by Ashley Winstead, and it was In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, or something like that, and I actually really liked that book. I thought it was so good and well written, and I will be honest, I'm not that good at guessing what's gonna happen in mystery thriller books, but like that book had me guessing. Like, I didn't have a specific like, this is what I think is gonna happen, because that just kept changing throughout the entire book, because there were so many plot twists, I feel like, in that book. And so I'm hoping that This Book Will Bury Me will be the same. But I liked her first book, and so I'm gonna read this one as well. The next book is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, which comes out April 1st, and I'm so excited. I love Abby Jimenez so freaking much. The first book that I've ever read by Abby Jimenez was, let me look it up. I can't remember what it was called, because it was when I first got into reading. Oh, it's called The Friend Zone, and that I borrowed from the French teacher at the school that I work at. And so then I recently also read whatever was, I think, the next book in that standalone series, and then I started the other series. So I've read a couple of Abby Jimenez books, and they have never disappointed. And the cover for Say You'll Remember Me is just so freaking cute. Abby Jimenez is definitely also another author where whatever she puts out in the world, I will buy it and I will read it. It doesn't matter, like, if the storyline is the exact same as one of her other books, I will get it. So I'm so excited. I think that's the book that I'm most excited for this year, honestly. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I'm so excited for that book to come out. The next book on my list is The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose, which comes out April 15th of this year, which I think is supposed to be the second book in the Perfect Marriage series. I think it's called just Perfect series. I am so excited because I remember when I first read The Perfect Marriage, I was like too stunned to speak. And I didn't know that she was going to write a sequel to the book until just recently. So I'm so excited for The Perfect Divorce. And the next book that I want to read is Great Big Life by Emily Henry, which comes out April 22nd of this year. Just like the Ali Hazelwood book that comes out this year, I don't know at what point this year I'm going to read it, but I do know that that is one of the books that I'm excited for it to come out this year and for me to read. But it's just, there's a couple Emily Henry books that I haven't gotten to read yet, and I think it's like dating back to Book Lovers, because I remember I tried to start Book Lovers a couple times and I just could not get into it, and it was so long and the font was so tiny, and I just was like not like vibing with that. So I haven't picked up another Emily Henry book in a while, but I've read a couple Emily Henry books. So I don't know at what point I'm gonna read Great Big Beautiful Life, but I am excited for it to come out. And the next book that I'm so excited to come out is The Man Made of Smoke by Alex North, which comes out in May. It comes out May 13th, and I'm so excited for this book. The first book I read by him, which is I think his debut novel, it's called The Whisper Man. That book literally terrified me. That book scared me so bad. And Alex North is just one of those authors, also like Frida McFadden, who is like one of my favorite authors for mystery thriller, and whatever he puts out into the world, I'm going to buy it. It doesn't matter how similar it is to anything else that he's ever written, or how completely opposite it is from whatever else he's written. I'm gonna buy it if he puts it out into the world. So I'm super excited for this. Next book that I'm excited to come out is It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. I think, hopefully I said that right. Which comes out May 27th, 2025. And I actually have an advanced reader copy for this book as well, for me to read. So I actually am going to be able to read it before May 27th, but I think I'm going to read it either in March or April. So I'm excited to read that. I just really like Annabelle's writing. I think it's just so easy to read and to like get through, especially like if you're in a reading slump. So excited for that one. This one, okay, I know that I said I think I'm most excited for Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, but I think I'm gonna have to take that back because I just remembered that I put this on this list, and I think I'm more excited for the book that I'm about to talk about, which is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. You guys, I have not read a Taylor Jenkins Reid book in so long. I read all of her books that she's ever published, and I need more. I haven't read a TJR book in so freaking long because I've already read all of her other books, and I just like I have been waiting for her to put out another book for like ever. So I'm super excited that this one's coming out. I think I'm most excited for Atmosphere and then Say You'll Remember Me. The next book that I'm excited for is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston, which comes out June 17th of this year. And I just love her writing. Like I can't even find it. I read The 7-Year Slip, and that book became my favorite book of 2023, I think was when I read it. That book was just so freaking good, and my heart was like breaking for the characters in the book, and I just felt like I was experiencing all those emotions with them, alongside them. I just felt like I was in the story with those characters. So I'm super excited for her to come out with another book. I'm sure I'll like it just as much as The 7-Year Slip. I don't know if I'll like it more than that book though, but I'm excited nonetheless. The next book that's coming out is on July 15th, which is Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. And Lynn Painter has easily become one of my favorite authors. The first book that I read by her, which was I think Better Than the Movies, I was kind of iffy about her because there was that one chapter that was like 30 pages long, and that just like turned me off from her writing so bad. But then I read like her other books that she published after Better Than the Movies, and I fell in love with them so much, and it was just so easy for me to like get lost in the story with the characters, and like so easy for me to relate to them. And I think that's because like the books that I've read from her are YA romances, and it was like how I was when I was in high school and was like having a crush on a guy or something. And so her books were just super easy to relate to, which made it super easy to read for me, and they were good books for like getting out of a reading slump. So Lynn Painter, don't sleep on Lynn Painter because she's a really good author. I love her. And then the next book that's coming out, you guys, it was just announced. Rebecca Ross just announced this like last week or something, but Wild Reverence comes out September 2nd, and this is set in the same world as her Divine Rivals duology. You guys, I cannot stress enough how excited I am for Wild Reverence because I just needed more in that Divine Rivals duology. Is that even what it's called? Yeah, that is what it's called. Okay, I just had to double check. But after I read that book, I was like, I need more. I need to know what happened. And then she came out with Ruthless Vows, which is the second book in the duology. And I was like, oh, it's over. It's over. So I'm excited for her to put out another book that's like set within the same world. And then lastly, we have The Defender by Anna Huang, which comes out October 28th. I read The Striker, which is the first book to the series last year, I think actually in December, and I fell in love. I fell in love. I fell in love. It's so easy to really just like dive into the Anna Huang world. And I know that there's so many books that she's written dating back to the Twisted series, and so the Twisted series, the Kings of Sin series, and then this series, they're all kind of interconnected, but like they're standalone series that you can read by themselves. Like you don't have to read one series to be able to read the next one. But it's just fun because like all the characters from like those books have shown up in The Striker, or like characters in The Striker have shown up in the books in the other series. So that was like super fun. But back to The Defender, you guys. I haven't read a soccer romance book that was good, okay? Let me just say that. Just like I've really only read hockey romance books. I have started diving into like the F1 romance, whatever. It literally doesn't matter because we're talking about soccer romance here, but soccer romance, I have had such a hard time trying to find a book that was like actually good within the soccer romance world. And then Anna Huang came out with The Striker and I fell in love. I was down bad. So I'm super excited for her to continue the rest of the series. And like for me growing up, I played soccer, so soccer is like a really big part of my life. And I like watching soccer and all that stuff. So soccer is just like something that I'm super interested in. And so it's nice to be able to see like a romance series where soccer is like the sport that is being played, because I'm so like, I've read so many hockey romance books. I've read so many like football romance books, so it's nice to see like a change up in the sports. So yeah, those are the books that I'm super excited for 2025 and for them to come out and to read this year. When will I get through those books? Who freaking knows? But yeah, thanks you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys liked this video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, but like maybe monthly TBRs or weekly TBRs or something, just leave a comment down below and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a good night, guys.